As Benoit said, my name is Annemieke Bulters. I'm the head of smart metering at ENEXIS, which is one of the 3 largest grid operators in the Netherlands. We're only a tiny country compared to other countries in Europe or the world even. But in the Netherlands we have 7 different grid operators, and there are 3 big ones and 4 smaller ones, and ENEXIS is one of the big ones. I can talk for hours about the topic of smart metering, but I've been asked to keep it to limit myself to 10 minutes, and then we have lots of room for questions and answers after we finish our presentations. So as I said, the Netherlands, it's not such a large country, but we have 7 different grid operators, and we have, in the law it says that we have to offer each household a smart meter by the end of 2020. So we have a target on 100% offering, and the expectation is that the realization will be higher than 80%. So that's our initial goal. In the Netherlands, we roll out electricity meters as well as gas meters, and we do that at the same time. So we are a grid operator for both electricity and gas. And the rollout, we do it street by street. In some countries it's different, but in the Netherlands the meters are inside the house. So we have to ask the customer to open the door so we can enter the house and install the smart meters in the cupboard. And it's not mandatory. So it's mandatory for us to offer a smart meter, but consumers can refuse for privacy reasons or for whatever other reason they want to. And as a grid operator, we are only allowed to install the meter. We are not allowed to provide any services to provide insight in the data to our customers. That's something that's done by the energy supplier or independent service providers. So that's why we update our rollout schedule at least every 3 months. So the energy suppliers and ISPs know which streets, which cities they can target with their offerings. Because that's something we'd love to do that, but we are not allowed to do any offerings on that. So why do we roll out smart meters in the Netherlands? The decision was made based on energy savings. So the idea was that once a consumer has a smart meter, he or she will get insight in energy consumption, and therefore that will lead to energy savings. And also, of course, it makes it easier to have the automatic meter reading. So if there's an event, the customer moves or he switches to another energy supplier, then we have the meter readings at the right time and it's correct. But what we see is the third point, the usage of data for smart meters for our own purposes. That's something that is very helpful, and that's also something, an area that we're developing in. So the first 2 were really the decision makers while we're rolling out the smart meters in the Netherlands, but now we're seeing that the third point on this sheet is helping us a lot as well. And maybe it's typical Dutch, I don't know, but we use the smart meter data to find drugs, labs. I don't know if that's in other countries, but in the Netherlands we use it. We see if there's any different strange meter readings, and then we ask the police to go to the house, and most of the time we find all kinds of plants that are not supposed to be there. And also with outages and defects on meters or in the grid, that will help us. The smart meter data will help us as well. This looks a bit complicated, but it's not really complicated if I explain a little bit about it. Everything that is inside the green box, that's the grid operator. So we installed the electricity meter, which has 4 ports, as we call it. And you see P2, that's where the electricity meter communicates with the gas meter. So the gas meter is a slave of the electricity meter. So we don't have standalone gas meters in the Netherlands. The billing, which is in the blue box, that's the area of the supplier. And he gets the data to do the billing via the P4 port. So the supplier requests data to us, and then so for example, if he needs data from the gas meter, he requests it to us via the P4 port. Then it goes through our head end, through the P3 port to the electricity meter, who then requests the data from the gas meter, and it goes the same way back. And that's all, it's done in minutes. It's not really that, it sounds really complicated, but it goes really fast. And also the independent service provider can ask data as well via the P4 port, but then he has to have the mandate of the customer that he's allowed to ask for the data. So what we did, we started the large-scale rollout in 2015, but before that there was the small-scale rollout, and that was used to see if the benefits that we think are there, so the energy savings, if we saw that happening. So with a small group of customers, we rolled out a smart meter, and we had certain points to evaluate the progress and also to see if there were savings. And based on those evaluations, it was decided in 2014 by the government, the Dutch government, that we proceeded with the large-scale rollout, which will last until the end of next year. And then, as I said, between 80 to 90% of the Dutch consumers will have a smart meter. And where are we now? At the moment, we are above 80% of consumers who have been offered a smart meter. About 7% has refused the meter so far. And there are other reasons why people did not get a smart meter, and that could be that they didn't see the added value, they didn't want to stay at home or take time off work to stay at home, so we can enter their house to install it, or some kind of technical reason that they don't have the room for it. And looking at ENEXIS specifically, we're close to 4 million smart meters now. And then with 1 year to go, we will end up between 5 and 6 million meters electricity and gas in our network. And we have a success rate of 88%, so it's going really well. So we hope to be close to the 90% by the end of next year. It's not always blue sky with sunny weather. We've had some challenges. First of all, the main challenge for us is that the smart meter is not mandatory, so clients can say yes. The Ministry of Economic Affairs would like all the households to have a smart meter, so we get another directive from the government to continue the rollout of the smart meter to clients who refused earlier or who didn't want to stay at home, or all the other reasons that I mentioned, to try again. But still, it's not mandatory to have a smart meter. So we're trying to get that last bit to get to the 100%. Benoit mentioned it already as well. The technology is moving fast. We would like to install the meter for its entire lifetime, which is 20 years. And we see that the technology life cycle is a little bit faster than that. So we're now looking into how we can address those challenges by looking at modular meters, for example. So you can swap out the module that's out of date, but you leave the rest of the meter in place. In the Netherlands, and again, maybe my colleagues can share a little bit about it too. What we see is that there's that in the media, for whatever reason, it's nice to say or to be negative about smart meters. It's Big Brother. It's invading my privacy. You can see when I'm taking a shower or all that kind of stuff, and it's still in the media, and it's hurting our rollout. So we always have to explain in our communication that all the stories that are in the media are not based on facts. So that's interesting. And we've been on national television quite some time, and I don't like it. I'd like to be on television for good reasons, but we were asked to sit in watchdog programs to explain that you are not Big Brother, but you know it's a very difficult position to be in. And we're learning. That's something as well. We started the rollout, the first meters in 2012. We're now in our 5th generation of the meters, and we're continue to learn. As I said already, technology is moving fast. Our learning cycle is moving fast as well. While the meter base, we want that as stable as possible. So that's a real challenge that we're looking at. So that was slightly more than the 10 minutes that I was given. But hopefully I've given you some insight in the Dutch situation, and I hope you have questions for us later on.